to manufacture the product from the acquisition of the raw materials, the work in progress, work in process, workflow, visibility of that workflow, and more importantly, what are their inventory levels? Then once they understand that, they need to go back to their sub-tier supplier network and get real-time visibility onto when those raw materials are going to arrive to them. So start planning ahead of how to maximize their process efficiencies within the factory and within their warehouse distribution centers. Three core areas of focus to get real-time visibility across your end-to-end supply chain. And what that allows you to do is to start asking those difficult and complex questions from a very easy to use and easy to deploy platform provided by Bioterm Pack and Cloudleaf. Understanding where my product is, where's my stuff, under what condition is it in, what condition is it being exposed to, so vibration or temperature excursions, it's likely to be delayed. If I understand things like weather conditions, traffic conditions, I can now start to predict and analyze in real time what the expected time of arrival is, and then inform my suppliers and inform my customers from a distribution center accordingly. Inventory levels, how much do I have and where is it? Do I need to over order because I understand that shipments take longer than normal, particularly in the current climate that we're in with a pandemic? Is it in compliance with regulation? So things like shock and vibration on certain high value items, making sure that they arrive on time in good quality. And the predictive nature is becoming more and more important. Once I understand the estimated time of arrival, estimated time of delivery, I can then start to process my operations more efficiently. I can start to offer a more robust quality of service and a predictive quality of service to my end customer. So when we look at some use case examples, there's one here for each of those three areas I spoke of earlier. So when we look at capital assets, this is the manufacturing equipment that is used to manufacture your final product. In this instance, you're seeing a graphic here of industrial manufacturing equipment. These are the tools, machinery, the molding equipment, welding equipment. Knowing where they are, knowing what condition they're in, and knowing what they're being used for within your production facility is extremely important to help you manage production cycles, help you manage production uptime, help you minimize production downtime, which has a significant impact if you're on an assembly line. So in this instance, we're actually monitoring over 50,000 capital assets at 14 different sites. It says 13 on the slide, but it's increased to 14. Helping this organization save in excess of $25 million US per year because they don't have that downtime now whilst they're waiting for machinery to become available. They don't lose that money now because that machinery may have been taken off site and nobody knows where it is. For a work in process, this is more for a pharmaceutical company that's tracking live blood plasma. So understanding where that blood plasma is from 150 different donor collection centers, having it transferred and transit to their main production facility. And within that production facility, monitoring the process flow from the time of arrival at the receiving doctor through the storage area, from the storage area through to manufacturing the final product, and then from the final product being distributed to the customer. In this case, there's issues around temperature control. They have to manage all of this very stringent FDA temperature controls. And the same applies for cold chain movement as it relates to any consumer product goods, food and beverage, and obviously, more importantly, pharmaceuticals. Next on the pharmaceutical side is the in transit, which is what you see on the right-hand side here. So there's large container companies. This is one of the largest container companies in the world for moving things like vaccines, which again, in the current climate, is extremely important to know where the vaccines are in quantity, and also know what temperature conditions they're being transported in. Again, there's very strict regulations on what temperature breaches occur as to whether that product is valuable and valid to be used or whether it has been contaminated, and therefore that product has to be destroyed. So in this instance, one incident alone could cost in excess of 5 million US dollars, and we're using our joint platform with Biotempac, Cloudleaf, to eradicate all of those issues. And therefore, they have zero excursions and can actually transport the vaccines in a much more efficient manner. This graphic shows you how all this comes together. I'm not going to talk to this in too much detail, but suffice to say, the inbound side of your raw materials, you'll see we have Biotempac devices being used here. It's capturing location, it's capturing conditions such as temperature movement, to humidity, in some instances pressure and shock and vibration. Those are the IoT sensors. Those are coming up into a Cloudleaf cloud environment via some Cloudleaf technology. And then in the cloud, we're running our own proprietary software in a cloud agnostic environment. It will run on Google, Amazon, or Microsoft Azure Cloud. That information from your systems of record, whether you're running SAP or Oracle, whether you're running JDA or HighJump or Blue Yonder, any of those products from a warehouse management perspective, and merging that data to give you a holistic view of what is the expected time of departure, what is the expected time of arrival of your final product. And that's what you see on the right-hand side. You're monitoring right from the source of your raw materials. You're monitoring within your four walls in this environment on how you're manufacturing your product. And you're actually managing and monitoring the distribution of that to make sure you have end-to-end visibility for distributing a quality product to your end customer. It works equally as well in retail as it does in manufacturing, as it does for cold chain, which includes, as I mentioned earlier, food and beverage and life sciences, pharmaceuticals. So to solve very complex challenges across the supply chain. And again, this moves in from product flow, where you need continuous intelligence to understand risk, compliance, government regulations, understand what your penalties may be for product loss. You can actually start reducing those, looking at what your last mile delivery is, through to inventory control, making sure your products are in the right place at the right time, and the right amount of inventory. Again, in the retail space, it helps you to avoid markdowns with obsolete inventory or over provisioning of inventory. In the food industry, making sure you understand what the longevity is of your product, and maximizing shelf life and diminishing waste, making sure you understand the omni-channel fulfillment for direct to consumer. Again, think of how Amazon operates in this space. As soon as you do the one click on your mobile device, within 24 hours, if you're a Prime customer, you're getting your product delivered to your front door. That's what we're now seeing in the commercial space. That ties into the customer demands. Customers now have a much more higher level of expectation on when products are going to arrive to them. They are spoilt for choice on who can provide them these sorts of products. It's not just from single vendors. They have a bigger choice as it relates to sustainability. Are these products being made in a sustainable manner? I.e. green products, gluten-free as an example, non-artificial coloring as an example in food and beverage. Are they coming from ethical sources? What's the provenance of that product? It's not being made in unethical countries. And also avoiding any costs as it surrounds risk, where risk of not being able to understand where your product is, not being able to let your customers know when that product's going to arrive, and therefore be liable for breaches in any SLAs, service level agreements, that you may have with your customer. Leaf and Tempak, we've created some off-the-shelf applications. I spoke about some of these in the use case examples. We have asset inventory intelligence, letting you know where your inventory is and the quantity. We have process intelligence for workflow management, as well as work in progress, work in process, allowing you to offer production efficiencies. We also have logistics intelligence. Whilst your product is in transit, whether it's land, sea, rail, or air, you get real-time visibility into that product location and its condition. And more recently, we launched a worker safety application called Safe to Go in the height of the pandemic. It allows our customers to provide their workers with a Fitbit type of device, checks temperature in real time, checks the social distancing measures, and sends out alerts in real time to let our customers know if there's any breaches being occurred with something that may be showing signs of the COVID-19 virus. This is just a high-level view of the network itself, the architecture. We have sensors at the base, as well as business data, 3PL data, plan data, contextual data, traffic, weather, planes, etc. All of that feeding into a central cloud platform. Tempak is providing all of the edge data that we see here for sensors. That's flowing through to a CloudLeaf cloud-based analytical platform that is also pulling data from your systems of record, your master reference data, your sales and operations. We're also leveraging things like collaboration tools, such as Slack. We're using some today, like Facebook as an example. How do we get social media to disseminate information to us, to the right person, the right persona at the right time? I mentioned before about the out-of-the-box applications. And then we also provide APIs that allows customers to interact into their third-party applications, drive their own analytics and KPIs that again allows them to monitor their business more efficiently. Now, some of those actionable predictive insights can be broken down into these categories. Again, I spoke about many of these, but you think about compliance, making sure your product is in compliance, making sure you have visibility of your end-to-end supply chain and where appropriate into your sub-tier supplier network, understand the real-time conditioning of your product. Temperature is the number one that we're hearing, but you also extend that to things like shock and vibration, humidity, pressure, any type of sensing capability you can think of. The modern supply chain needs to have visibility into that so it knows the condition of its products that are being shipped. The utilization of that product. Again, getting back into inventory levels, you don't want to be over provisioning, but you want to make sure you have the right part for a sub-assembly to a final assembly, so you're not breaking down and delaying assembly lines. And at the other side of this, you want to make sure you've got advanced metrics and KPIs that drive exceptions and alerts. So you're managing by exception. You shouldn't have to sit in front of a monitor waiting for something to happen. The system works for you. You place your business rules inside of the system, and based upon the breaches of the criteria of those business rules, it will dynamically alert you either text or email, or actually posting onto a social media channel to let you know if there's any excursions or incidents or issues with your shipments or with your inventory. So managing by exception has now become the norm of how you run your supply chain. I'll just round up on this final slide, the value proposition offered by the two companies. So CloudLeaf is a software technology provider using the latest and greatest future-proof technology at its core. We provide a single source of truth for all of your data, regardless of whether it's coming from sensors or whether it's coming from internal to your business or external to your business. It's running on the latest modern technology, such as cloud, IoT, AI, ML. We've now extended that to include things like 5G with the telecommunication carriers, as well as things like blockchain for secure transmission of data, for chain of custody and smart contracts. And all this is running on an easy to deploy and cost-effective cloud-based SaaS solution. So many of the applications I spoke of earlier, those are easy to deploy. You're not building anything from scratch here, which is a core element as to how do customers start and where do they start to add value. And from the Biotempack, we're delighted to add that they have one of the world's leading hardware capabilities at their disposal. It was very easy to onboard devices to the CloudLeaf platform. Very robust industrial strength products, experienced set of individuals with over several decades focus on supply chain tracking. And between CloudLeaf and Biotempack, we're leveraging that expertise for our professional services organizations, and also complementing the CloudLeaf footprint with their capability to provide resources within the Latin America region, and also with several of their deployments being deployed internationally around the globe. So with that, I'll stop my presentation. I thank you for your time today, and I'll hand back to the moderator.
Thank you, David, for such an excellent and interesting presentation. So now, ahora me permito darle la palabra al licenciado David Requis, quien nos dirigirá un breve mensaje. Adelante, David, por favor.
Muchas gracias, Valeria. Meramente agradecerles el tiempo. Muchas gracias a ti, al secretario, a Manuel, al subsecretario, a todo tu equipo que nos estuvo apoyando en esta coordinación. Comentarles también que la presentación yo pienso que la vamos a compartir si se comunican con Valeria ahí en Secretaría de Desarrollo Económico, porque vimos que había un poquito de delay en algunos de los slides. De cualquier manera, creo que el mensaje que nos quedó muy claro pues son los retos de las cadenas de suministro, el tema de la importancia de la innovación en todos estos sensores, todos estos indicadores de información. Pues más que nada, yo me quedaría con ese tema, lo que es el enfoque disruptivo de visibilidad en las cadenas de suministro. Nuevamente, pues agradezco mucho a ustedes. David, thank you very much for your time and your speech. It was very insightful for all of us to meet how all big companies around the world are making improvements in their supply chain. So thank you very much for that. Pues muchas gracias, Valeria. Si te parece, pasamos a una breve sesión de preguntas y respuestas, si es que por ahí tienes algunas. Y pues gracias por el tiempo y por el espacio.
Okay. No, gracias a ustedes, David. Como bien comentas, ahora comenzaremos con la sesión de preguntas y respuestas. Ok, la primera pregunta es, si quiero incorporar esta tecnología en mi pequeña empresa, ¿cuánto tengo que invertir? If I want to incorporate this into my small company, how much would I be investing?
I'll take that question. Let me put my camera back on. So
okay.
There's very little investment required up front. I mentioned that out of the box, we have several applications that have already been pre-built that provide 80% of the functionality that are required by the majority of our customers. So in as little as a couple of days to a couple of weeks is how long it takes to get up and running at a very low cost footprint to get started. And these environments is no different to taking a Bluetooth type of device, such as a headset, and pairing that headset to your mobile phone or your mobile tablet, at which point David and I at Biotempack, we can very quickly start getting analytics for you, and then we start building from a phased project from there.
Aranza, no sé si nos puede auxiliar un poco con el mensaje de David en la parte de la traducción.
Claro, David nos comenta que no es como una solución cara, en el sentido de que también es muy rápido implementarla. Dice que pueden ser algunos días o unas pocas semanas y por lo general nada más se necesita el uso de un headset, no sé, conectado al teléfono. Un headset pues hablamos de un micrófono y audífonos, que pues nos mantiene como conectados en cuanto a la cadena de suministro y bueno, en realidad pues no supone una inversión muy grande. O sea, sí, ya para más detalles pues habría que platicarlo y platicar como la manera en que se quiere usar o los detalles de la empresa en donde se planea implementar para ver cuáles son las particularidades de cada empresa y aplicar la solución de manera que sea pues lo más económico posible y que sirva de igual manera.
Perfecto, muchas gracias. Siguiente pregunta. ¿Mis proveedores y clientes deben tener el mismo sistema de rastreo que el mío? ¿Poder coordinar nuestros procesos? Do my providers and clients need to have the same tracking system to be coordinating in our processes?
The short answer is no. The system is device and data agnostic. And that's the benefit of having a solution like this. It can actually connect what we call disparate systems, different systems can be connected to provide a centralized view of your supply chain.
Nos comenta David que la respuesta corta vendría siendo no, porque Cloudleaf te permite conectarse, tiene como interconectividad con diferentes dispositivos, entonces tus proveedores puede que estén usando un CRM de algún tipo, puede que estén usando, no sé, equipos de Windows, de Mac y todo eso, y Cloudleaf puede conectarse directamente con ellos sin necesidad de que todos tengan el mismo sistema. Claro que sería como recomendable que lo tuvieran, pues también para que se beneficien todos, pero a fin de cuentas no es necesario, o sea, con que una persona, una empresa lo tenga, ya se puede conectar a lo de sus proveedores y demás.
Perfecto. La siguiente es, ¿mi compañía tiene que ser de cierta industria para manejar esa tecnología? ¿O hay alguna variación en el sistema de rastreo dependiendo de los productos? Does my company have to be in a specific industry to manage this innovation? Or is there any variation of the tracking system depending on the product provided?
Now, the system is horizontal in nature. It will work for all types of industries because at the end of the day, it just relies on data. That data can be provided by IoT devices, or it could actually just be provided by your internal systems where the data is siloed. You've got it in different systems and you need a centralized single version of the truth of that data. That's where Cloudleaf can be utilized as providing that single source of truth.
Ok, aquí nos comenta que la naturaleza de Cloudleaf es horizontal, de manera que cualquier empresa, sin importar su giro, pues pueda utilizarla, porque básicamente lo único que necesita es acceso a la información. Entonces, mientras tengamos de dónde sacar esa información, no hay ningún problema y pues solo necesitamos acceso a eso. Entonces, pues si tenemos una base de datos en la que nosotros guardamos toda nuestra información en cuanto a, no sé, costos, en cuanto a inventario, todo eso, simplemente Cloudleaf pues tendría que tener acceso a esa base de datos y no hay ningún problema, funciona perfecto.
Perfecto, muchas gracias. ¿Cómo la implementación de un sistema de rastreo puede mejorar la satisfacción del cliente y cumplimiento de orden? How can customer satisfaction or fulfillment orders be improved by the implementation of a tracking system?
Well, the first thing that customers struggle with is knowing where their products are currently in the shipment cycle, what condition they're being exposed to, and then what is the estimated time of arrival, the ETA. So the downstream end consumer or customer benefits from immediate information about product damage immediate information about when the product is going to be delivered, so they can run their own work schedules and operational schedules more efficiently. And that's majority of the reasons why customers use this combined system of Biotempac and Cloudleaf, is giving them that real-time visibility to better serve their customers.
Ok, aquí comenta que por lo general el mayor problema que tienen las personas es saber en dónde están sus productos, punto número uno, en qué condición también, y cuál es su tiempo estimado de llegada, o sea, en qué momento me va a llegar a mí mi producto. Entonces, a partir de este conjunto de dispositivos de Cloudleaf y de Biotempac, nosotros podemos saber en dónde está, en qué condiciones y cuándo me va a llegar, porque tenemos acceso a esa información en todo momento. Entonces, aquí es donde partimos del término de completa visibilidad en la cadena de suministros, que nos permite tener una mayor eficiencia y obtener nuestros productos pues en el menor tiempo posible, en las mejores condiciones y bueno, a donde tiene que llegar.
Muy bien, muchas gracias. Y última pregunta es, ¿han hecho adaptaciones para que el sistema de rastreo se pueda aplicar a estrategias omnicanal? Have you made any adaptation for the tracking system to be applied in omnichannel strategies?
Yes, we've been working with several retail firms and food and beverage firms where this is integral to their omnichannel process. So from an omnichannel perspective, with what I'd call end consumer, which is different from an end customer, where they get visibility into things like inventory levels is the most important thing there in omnichannel. Understanding things of inventory at your fulfillment center and your distribution center to ensure that you can fulfill the demands of that end consumer. So the answer again is yes, but we do have experience of how we operationalize that between ourselves and Biotempac.
Sí han hecho, pues más que nada, modificaciones o se han podido adaptar a los canales, bueno, omnicanal, ya que han trabajado antes con empresas de retail y de alimentos y bebidas. Y David comenta que aquí, en este tipo de empresas, lo más importante es tener el conocimiento de los inventarios. Siempre saber cuánto tienes, de qué producto y, bueno, para poder nosotros entender si podemos o no cumplir con la demanda de los consumidores. Entonces, de manera que nosotros podamos asegurar que nuestro producto está disponible para ellos. Cloudleaf, sin duda alguna, pues ayuda en esta parte, junto con igual los dispositivos de Biotempac de rastreo, de sensores, y pues aplica para todo tipo de empresa, como ya habíamos dicho antes, incluyendo las omnicanales.
Perfecto, muchas gracias, Aranza. Thank you, David. Y bueno, recordándoles también, como comentó el licenciado David Requis, les vamos a estar haciendo llegar la presentación a quien nos lo solicite. Igual ahí mismo en el Facebook Live ponemos un correo electrónico en el cual nos pueden escribir pidiéndonos la presentación o bien dudas que no se hayan contestado en este webinar. Para finalizar, recordarles que todos los jueves a las 9 de la mañana hasta el 10 de diciembre estaremos reuniéndonos para tratar temas interesantes como lo fue el que acabamos de escuchar. Dichos temas, dentro de este ciclo de webinars que forman parte del Plan de Reactivación Económica y del programa AGX Aguascalientes Exportador, el cual muy pronto la Secretaría de Desarrollo Económico estará lanzando en los próximos días una convocatoria con el fin de apoyar e impulsar los productos y servicios de Aguascalientes al extranjero. Y por último, agradecerles desde luego a todos y cada uno de los presentes, ya que gracias a todos ustedes estamos conectados y haciendo que en Aguascalientes se fomente, desarrolle e impulse el comercio exterior. Muchas gracias y hasta la próxima sesión.